James Cameron did it again with a film that made way too much money for what it was. I would like to mention that in the top 6 highest grossing films, James Cameron has directed 3. I went to this film like I assume many did after watching the first Avatar the night before, and boy, was I not surprised at all. The Way of Water was so disappointing. I'll say it. From a watching aspect, it's fun to get sucked into this universe, and when I say sucked, I mean it. By the time I got out of the theater, I got married, had kids, had them grow up and be successful, all while not being able to grow facial hair. I think my biggest problem is the why. Avatar was made in 2009. But was 13 years a realistic time to wait for a sequel? James Cameron made this wonderful and amazing world and just let it rot and wither away. The plot of The Way of Water is okay. I had a few problems with it, but I'll get into that later. Can we talk about the visuals? I think this movie was beautiful looking, especially with the water, which I guess would make sense. I think the new creatures and terrain are impressive and fleshes out the notion of Pandora being this giant, robust planet. I like the action as well in the film, but the means of getting to the action, it's just stupid. Let me say this, spoilers for the film, if that wasn't apparent already, because I will be going in depth. My biggest problem with the film, especially with the plot, is the repetition of Jake Sully's new kids just always getting in trouble and always needing to be saved. I mean, I swear to God, these kids get kidnapped like 4 different times, and each one was completely avoidable. Completely. Another thing is Steve Lang's character is back after his death in Avatar 1, and his revival is dumbed down to, yo, we actually saved your memory before you fought in Avatar 1 so that if you die, we still, have you as a person, which it would have been fine, and it would have been cool if they addressed that in the first movie, but they didn't. In the first film, they had no reason to save Lang's memory because they thought they were going to just absolutely dumpster fire Pandora. So it doesn't really make any sense as to why they would have his memory saved. It honestly felt like a cheap undo for a character. Like, oh shit, this is the only character we had going for the human people that was noteworthy after they got exiled. So let's just bring him back, I guess. You know what this means. So Quaritch, whatever his name is, and all of his little goons are now blue. Yay. They essentially went through the same program that Jake and the other weird nerdy scientist went through to create and morph into new avatars. Which, whatever. This also leaves me questioning what happened when they were writing this film, especially when you compare it to the first film. The main conflict of the first film was the sky people, the human race, coming into Pandora and searching for this unobtainium. However, in this film, they want to kill whales to get this elixir bullshit that makes you live forever. Okay. But they never address the unobtainium again. So it's you lost this war, spent millions and billions of dollars in resources trying to escape and do all this shit just to come back and not get the resource that you wanted from the first film. I understand if the immortal juice or whatever was also being looked into, but they just completely forgot about unobtainium. And it's not like they're coming back for one sole reason. If they know that there's multiple resources there, of course, it's human race. We want resources. We want anything that we can get our hands on. So the fact that we kind of just lose unobtainium as a resource and a plot point, I don't know. There is a new captain. Don't know her name, but she says something about a mission to save the human race because we are destroying Earth. But again, that was also never mentioned again. It was in one little quick dialogue when Quaritch finally is in his avatar and is learning about what the new mission is. But that's about it. And so it's confusing as to what they're trying to do here. Are they trying to get the infinite juice so that they can save the people? Are they trying to find a new home for the human race? Or are they trying to find unobtainium? Or all three? It's never clarified. It doesn't make any sense. I think it needs to be, more time needed to be invested in it. The new tribe, okay, the water people, I didn't really have any major complaints with them. The only complaint I had was the leader, Papa Bear, if you will. Absolute moron. Hated him as a character. My biggest complaint was after the fish boys, his three little sons, take Jake Sully's throwaway son number 2. That's how I'm going to classify them. Don't really care about their names. Don't really care about them as characters. They didn't really do anything for me. So the fish boys take Jake Sully's kid out in the middle of like this nowhere ocean with like a mountain and something. And then they just leave him, right? This was, of course, like a day after the Sully family had gotten onto the island, so they had no clue really what they were doing. They just learned how to have hair sex with the new creature of the film, to like ride it and stuff. They essentially just left this kid out in the middle of nowhere to die. Okay, cool. The only way the son was able to survive was through meeting this whale thing. The thing with the juice. He met this whale that was like abandoned, and everybody thought he was an outcast because the whale killed the rest of his whale family. Really weird side plot thing going on there. Didn't like that. So the whale thing helps him survive. Jake Sully's like, yo, where the hell is my son? And the boys are like, well, we think he went this way. And so everybody went out to this island, and I guess they were expecting that the kid would be dead, but he wasn't. The biggest thing is when they return home, the fish people's dad, after hearing about what had happened, rather than, beating the shit out of his kids like any self-respecting parent would do, he told Jake Sully to apologize for his kid being a nuisance and trouble for the tribe. The leader of your entire tribe is a moron. He's clueless. He's a moron who's clueless. And I guess you can say, oh, Loak, Jake Sully's kid, told him that no, it was actually me who went out there on my own. But it's not believable, because it couldn't have been Loak out there on his own, because he doesn't know how to control this creature. He doesn't know where he's going. Apparently they sailed on like these high waters or whatever. So it really just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And the real kicker is that after this, the little fish boys are like, you saved us from getting our shit blasted. You want to be friends now? And Loak's like, yeah, let's be friends. And then they just never bring it up again. I do want to step away from the negativity. I feel like that's been a main point here. And I would love to give credit to the action. I know I said earlier that I really liked the action. One scene in particular was the whale hunting scene, where you had all of these people who had this giant army of boats that all had like a different purpose. You had like submarines. It was like a whole operation, and it was extremely engaging for about the 20 minutes that it was on screen. Unfortunately, that was stripped away when immediately after that, one of the Sully kids dies, and then another one of the Sully kids gets captured, and then another one of the Sully kids, yeah, you can see where this is going. At the end of the film, the fish people and Jake Sully win and defeat Quaritch, which is like, yeah, let's go. Except they actually didn't. And this little shitling named Spider, who was originally Quaritch's son before the fight in the first movie, saved him. So essentially, this boy named Spider was a baby whenever everybody was escorted off of Pandora at the end of Avatar 1. And I guess they can't put babies into deep sleep or whatever it's called, like send them to travel. So they made the kids stay on Pandora with the rest of the scientists that were allowed to stay. And so this kid was kind of grown up to be like the Na'vi people. So, you have this fifth kid that Jake has. Sorry, Jake has 4 kids. He and Natiri got... But Spider was this kid that would always hang around Sully's kids and kind of was adopted into the family. And so you really felt that Spider would be on the people of Pandora's side. In the middle of the film, Spider gets captured by Quaritch and is used as kind of like a translator for the language of Pandora. But then at the end, Spider's like, yeah, I just saw you kill thousands of people, innocent people, and you killed whales to get juice, and you're doing this and you're doing that. You are a good person. You deserve to live here. And I guess it would be fine if Spider had known his father, but the only way that Spider knew his father was after the second time they met. Very weird. My closing thoughts on the film are quite simple, actually. The action, very good. The visuals, mwah, amazing. The dialogue and story, now that could use a lot of work. And, with Avatar 3 coming out in about a year, I'm interested to see if it's going to be the same kind of story or if they're going to actually fix some of the problems with the story. Seems like Korich is still going to be the evil bad guy of the film, which should be interesting because I guess all of the Pandora people think that he's dead, except Spider. So that's going to be a rude awakening for them. I'm going to give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I definitely would prefer this one over the first one, though. I just think because of the visuals and some of the action, I think it is superior in that way.